Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are looking at an interesting video that I've been hearing a lot of stuff about called Why Wuthering Waves Will Flop. And right off the rip, that's quite the title. And I've seen a couple of these kind of Wuthering Waves Will Fail style videos floating around, and I've watched a couple of them and they're all pretty brain rot, if I'm being completely honest. But this is the one I have heard a ton of stuff about. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's watch this video, boys.
I think Wuthering Waves will flop. Now hear me out. Ooh, they look kind of cool, but hear me out. I got some points. Just let me cook. A big reason why I think Wuthering Waves will flop is because it is a direct one-to-one to Genshin. Why?
What? They're similar. They're definitely similar, but they are not one-to-one. That is crazy, bro. There are countless differences between Wuwa and Genshin. Like, that's crazy.
Well, I think if you can't even take care of the small things or the weak things in your game, how can I expect you in the long run of the game to fix the big things? Let's even talk Genshin 1.0. When Genshin dropped, there was a lot of issues.
Wait. Hold on. Is he saying Wuthering Waves devs can't fix the small things in their game? So he can't expect them to fix the big things going forward? But they have been fixing the small things. They even rolled out an update in the middle of the CBT2, didn't they? Am I just misunderstanding this? Because that doesn't really make sense. From what I've heard and seen, Kuro is doing a ton of small fixing on Waves, like a lot, like all the time. And they're actually listening to their player base. So I don't really see where that's coming from.
They never fixed them. And look where it's at now. Bringing it back to a one-to-one to Genshin, I mean, it's so bad that literally they use the same text. Now, we're not talking about...
No, they don't. They don't use the same text. Bro, come on. Like, this is a different font. Yeah, it's the same, like, style with, like, the yellow title or yellow name, and then what they're saying underneath it is white. But, like, I feel like it's kind of like a universal thing. A lot of games do this. That's not the same text. What are you talking about, bro?
Natural innovation where we go, oh, let's copy this game and make it better. No, this game literally just took the Genshin template and copied and pasted, turned down the saturation. We'll get to that in a second. Now, we can address the elephant in the room. Of course, the combat is better. The echoes are cool and the combat is better.
It's significantly better.
How long is that going to take until we get tired of this shit? This is the problem with gacha players. We just keep going in the same fucking loop and keep getting tricked into the same fucking shit over and over and over and over again. It gives me Tower Fantasy vibes. I think people are just...
Whoa, bro. Hold on. Tower of Fantasy? Hold on. Wait.
And they just are waiting for a main game to play because there isn't really a big gacha main game unless you still play Genshin. Remember when Tower Fantasy dropped? Everyone called that a Genshin killer. And I'll be honest, Tower Fantasy was very fun for the first month. But after...
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Don't lie. Tower Fantasy was so far from fun. That game is a pile of dog shit. Comparing Wuwa to TOF is that, bro, that's, you're losing me a lot here. Like, what? Like, no. I don't think there is any redeeming quality about TOF, and anyone that was saying that game was going to be a Genshin killer was on some mad copium, because that game from the start was very easy to see as a massive flop. But anyway, let's continue.
Start to realize the gameplay loop, and you're like, I don't know. And I do think Tower Fantasy had good aspects, but it just wasn't as...
No, it didn't.
Very well. Now you're like, okay, why are you yapping? What are you talking about? Okay, of course, yes, it's a copy of Genshin, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I think this is a problem is because I feel like if they can't even take this template of Genshin and make it 10x better or 2x, let's 1.x better, then what are you even doing? I feel like they don't have...
It is better. Like, objectively, it is better. Like, weapon banner is guaranteed. That's already a billion times better than Genshin. The gameplay is way more engaging. That's better than Genshin. I would go as far as to say it is at least 1.5x better than Genshin.
It's literally like, oh, let's do what Genshin does, but let's just add extra animations. Oh, and also let's turn down the saturation to be edgy. Fuck that. I'm sorry, but I don't see it becoming its own thing. I think,
bro, you were mega oversimplifying the differences between Waves and Genshin. Waves it's like you took what like some brain rot Redditors are saying about Wuwa and just went with it and just took that as fact. Like, Wuwa is not just a desaturated Genshin. It is not just a different combat system. It is an entirely different game. They are in the same genre. They are in the same genre, but they are not the same game. There are a bunch of different... If you just watch Wuthering Waves gameplay for like 20 minutes, you can already spot a bunch of differences. But anyway, let's continue.
Be the little brother, the shadow of Genshin forever. And that's why I think it will flop ultimately. It still looks a little dull. Now I'll prove to you what I mean. So let's go up into the Adobes and let's look at this photo. So we have this photo. Oh, this is what the game looks like right now, like literally right now in this beta. Now I am going to put on a brightness and contrast at a 23. Core games, you need, listen up. You need to be taking these notes here. In a 27 contrast, we're gonna pop that on. And
is bro just gonna tell us what brightness and contrast is?
Big difference in the end. So let's turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. One clearly looks better and is more vibrant. Now,
okay, better is subjective.
I am going to turn the saturation up. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, they made the game a lot more saturated. No,
I personally like the desaturated look.
43 plus 43. That's a lot of fucking saturation. If you use Photoshop before, that's a fuck ton of saturation. That will fuck your photo up. I'm going to turn it on and you're going to see the difference. Wow, look at how that pops. Now, you might say that's a little too much, but somewhere in there. But look at the difference when I turn it off and on.
Okay, bro. You can't just rant about brightness, contrast, and saturation forever. I think everyone gets the point. Wuwa is desaturated when compared to Genshin. It's just a different art style. If you don't like it, that's not the game's problem. That's your problem. The game is supposed to be bleak and like post-apocalyptic stylistically. So it's going to be less saturated. That's not like a galaxy brain thing to understand.
Let's try another photo. So we're gonna do this one. This is the like grayest.
Okay, bro's just gonna do it again. When do you stop talking about brightness and saturation? Because this is like,
the story will not improve. It's boring. The dialogue is too fucking long. And here, let's see if I can pull this up. And they better hope I didn't get the dialogue. So look, let's pull up this dialogue. And look, we could do the filter on the dialogue too. Look at that. Look at that difference. Yeah, you could kind of go on.
Okay, this I can kind of get. The dialogue thing I can kind of get. Genshin is annoying with this too, where the dialogue is just, especially in world quests, can just be entirely too long, and you just sit there and you're just like bored out of your mind. I get that. The story stuff I've heard the criticism about, and that makes sense.
Here's what you do, okay, miHoYo. I mean, fuck. Kuro Games. See, I thought this was a fucking Genshin screenshot. The problem with Genshin and pretty much every gacha's dialogue is look at this small ass fucking 2-sentence little area here. What is this, a fucking anime? Bro, make this shit bigger. I don't want to be clicking 32 fucking times on my F and space key in my fucking mouse button.
That's valid. That's valid.
Let's just put some text here, okay? We're just gonna type stuff in. Hopefully it catches it and it's not catching it. Okay, well, I'm gonna just edit that out so it looks like I knew what I was talking about. We're gonna just copy this a few times. Instead of making this small ass text, how about you just make a fucking paragraph so the people that want to read that shit can sit there and waste their fucking breath and life and eye power reading that.
Honestly, that's kind of valid. That's kind of valid. Like, honestly, take up half the screen with dialogue. It would speed things up. I honestly get that.
Who cares about these NPCs anyway? Fuck them. Boom. Fix the game.
That actually would be an improvement. I actually agree with that.
World. And this is my problem with a lot of these games. And I think Genshin did an okay job with this, but the world feels empty. I feel like I'm just in a...
I have heard that one before.
And I'm just there.
You gotta take that with a grain of salt though. If we're gonna be real, this is a beta. All right. The only experience we all have with this game is a beta. So we can't judge it as a final product. So to say this is going to flop because the world isn't full of stuff yet, and it's still a beta, is kind of, I think, putting the cart before the horse. Like, we don't really know that that's going to be the final product of the game. It's fine to say, like, this is something that needs to change. And it definitely does. I've heard this from a few people, that the world is a little too barren. But I would hope, and I think everybody's hoping and expecting, that they're going to fill it up a little bit before they actually do full global release. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. It is a valid criticism, but to say the game's going to flop because of that based on the beta, I don't think that's very fair. But let's continue.
Like, oh yeah, just get these chests, run around. I want to feel like the world actually is alive. For example, you play Honkai Star Rail, although you know it's a game, you know there are NPCs, there are people walking around, you feel like the city is alive. Now, I understand that the game is a lot smaller, the worlds are a lot smaller, but at the same time, it's like, bro, put some fucking work in. I want to see people walking around. I want to see a bunch of interaction going on.
Here's another thing that this is another way they could do this. The world could be barren on purpose. And what I mean by that, it might sound a little weird, but it could tie into the sort of like plot. You know what I mean? Like it could be barren for a reason. There could be not a bunch of people everywhere because the world is like the game is suggesting, post-apocalyptic. So it's like, yeah, there should be people everywhere if you want a vibrant, alive world, but maybe that's not what the game's going for. And they could pull that off well. I mean, sometimes games with really empty worlds are really good. I mean, look at Nier Automata, for example. Like that game's world is really empty aside from like the camps and like random, very scarcely scattered NPCs you find. And that game's great. So there is a way to pull off a scarce world very well, and maybe Wuwa will do it. But anyway, let's continue.
People have copium over the pity system. Say, oh my god, the pity system, like it's a little bit better than Genshin.
It is. It is a little bit better.
Anytime you spend money, you lose. Every pity system is garbage because it's making you spend money. The only pity system that wouldn't.
Pity makes you spend money? I don't think pity's making you spend money, but
if it gave you something for free. I'm sorry, but every pity system is garbage. Every gacha games system and monetization is garbage. It's predatory. That's just how it fucking is. Yeah, instead of spending $300, we only have to spend $250.
That part's fair.
Like, get out of here.
Okay, don't exaggerate, dog. $250 to get a character. That's a little aggressive. Don't be doing that. Don't be truthful. Don't be ridiculous. Honestly, bro, if I'm just gonna be real, like, it just sounds like you shouldn't play gacha games. Like, if you really don't like gacha, just don't play gacha. Now, like, I'm not gonna disagree with you and say gacha is amazing or anything, because it's definitely not. But the companies have to make money somehow, and they're going to make money through gacha. The game is free to play, so they have to monetize it somehow, and Genshin and Wuwa and Honkai, the way they do it is gacha. And honestly, with the pity system being lower in Wuwa and the guaranteed weapon banner system, the odds of you having to wail as frequently as you have to wail in a game like Genshin or Honkai is lower, especially if there's a lot of sources for the premium currency. This might not be so bad. Again, this is another one of those things that we don't really know until the game comes out. So criticizing it now, kind of jumping the gun a little bit.
On top of that, the animation for when you pull is probably the most garbage animation I've seen in any fucking game. So let me show you.
Okay, this is.
It comes out the water.
This doesn't look bad. Dog, that doesn't look bad. That's just an opinion. I like the animation. Yeah, it's simple, but I like it stylistically. It looks fine. It looks fine.
Right now, like, bro, give me some scientific, fucking unworldly, paranormal fucking animations. I believe in if you complain about something,
bruh,
also give a solution. So this is how you fix this, Kuro Games, if you're watching this. So when
this is another opinion that I'm going to skip because it is not actually an objective problem with the game. Bro, come on. If you're gonna make a video like this and you say you're gonna cook at the beginning, you gotta cook, and you're not cooking at all.
Watch this shit. Like, bro, this shit is whack. Like, what is this? They just splatting on the screen. Like,
Genshin does the same thing. And it's fine. There's a reason these animations are not super long and complex, because you don't want to sit there and have to wait for a long animation to play every time you have to click through your gacha pull. That'd be annoying. They're fast on purpose.
Like, stop. Redo. It is what it is. Now, I actually like these animations. These little cute little animations here. And of course, they gotta have the little child characters in the game, of course. God.
I'm not a fan of child characters either, though. I'll be honest. I don't like chibi characters or child characters. I wish they weren't in these games. Animations
are super anticlimactic. It's just like you pump it and it just feels like the game is like, all right, okay, go. Yeah, go fight. That's it. That's all you get.
I mean, I don't really mind the ult animations, personally.
I want to feel all powerful.
Okay, you can't compare this to Star Rail, dog. Star Rail's a turn-based game. It's very different with what you can do in the confines of a turn-based game versus the confines of an open-world adventure game. You can't have that in Genshin or Wuwa or any open world. Like, that would be insane. You have to remind yourself, this has to run on a mobile device. So keep that in mind.
I feel like other games, they get that, especially Honkai. I think Honkai, and I know it's a turn-based game, when you ult, it's a crazy animation. If
bro goes, I know it's a turn-based game, and then proceeds to make his point anyway that doesn't make sense because it's a turn-based. Bruh, come on, dog.
It's amazing. But in this game, it's just like it zooms in on the character like, huh, and then it's like, all right, go fight. I don't like that. I think they need to fix that. I'm gonna be real.
Genshin does the same thing.
Echo animations feel heavier and sometimes look better than some of the character animations. I'll just be honest. I'll just gotta say that. I think some of the echoes or their fighting and combat animations are more well designed than some of the characters. I'll say some, not all. And speaking of just the animations themselves, I think some of the characters kind of share the same effects. And I'll show you what I mean, where every effect kind of looks like the character's a sword character. Like, yes, there are characters in the game that have different animations, but a lot of them share like the same, they just kind of look the same. If you just walk past and watch someone play the game, you wouldn't really be able to tell, besides like the colors, what character was what. Is that a huge...
Yes, you could. Don't be ridiculous. The argument here is because the characters have weapon trails that it makes them all look the same. Which, like, come on, man. Come on, bro.
For me, I feel like when I get a new character, I want to feel like I'm using a new character, using a new weapon, etc.
You will feel like you're using a new character because the abilities and animations and flow of gameplay will be different for every character. Dude, like, that'd be like saying that every character in Genshin feels the same because all of their weapons have yellow weapon trails and it all looks the same. Bro, you are not cooking with this video. What are you doing?
I don't think hard equals good. I think there needs to be experience alongside that content or hardcore content, because let's be real, the experience is what makes the game memorable. Not just, oh yeah, I fought 10 monsters that took me an hour to beat. No, there needs to be experience, right? There needs to be a journey there. And I think that's the casual side of the game. So I think they're catering way too hard to hardcore players.
Whoa, brother, have you watched any Wuthering Waves content? The game is not hard. There is difficult content you can do, but it's only difficult at the moment because we can't level up our characters all the way because it was a beta. Bro, if I'm gonna be 1000% with you, it really looks like you did not look at Wuthering Waves content at all for this. Like, you just took someone's like Reddit thread hating on the game and just decided you were going to make it your whole opinion and made a video on it. Because the game isn't hard. The game right now is not difficult. When it comes out, odds are the game is not going to be hard. The difficulty that was in the beta only came from being underleveled. The game is not hard. And the game is not catering to hardcore players. If you want a game that caters to hardcore players, go look at Punishing Grey Raven. That game can be hard. Wuwa is nowhere close.
Right now, they're kind of marketing this as like, oh, hey, look, the game's hard.
They're not marketing it as hard.
Hardcore players even played Genshin, back when it dropped, is because there was an experience. It felt like something, when you dropped in, you picked Paimon out the water and you went ahead and went through the woods. You see Amber, she comes out doing backflips, and then you see this femboy Venti. It's like, why is there a femboy in the woods with a dragon? Okay, now I got to find out more, and it just was exciting. And then you go into Mondstadt, you see, Timmy, you see all these people, and it's like, wow, it's an experience. It feels like a world. The casuals will make or break this game.
Listen, I get what you're saying there, but Mondstadt was not a memorable experience. Mondstadt was probably the weakest story arc in the entirety of Genshin. So if you're gonna say memorable experience, I don't think Mondstadt should be your argument, but anyway.
Like I said earlier, with the animations, I think there is no real hit satisfaction. I don't feel the weight of a lot of hits. Some, yes, but that's the problem. I shouldn't say some. Every single animation needs to crack, okay? It needs to go crazy. That's it.
That's an opinion, again.
Feels empty. I don't know what it is about it, but it just feels empty. It feels like...
You already covered this, dog. Why you double hitting the same thing you already talked about this?
The glider is too slow.
This one I actually agree with. The glider does need to be faster.
For the hardcore players. So the lock on, it's like my camera's flopping and blopping and plopping everywhere.
I've heard this one too.
Just lock it on so it just sticks on the character and it's just moving. It's like a chicken when you.
I have heard some camera complaints.
That action. Okay, I want to see all that.
That's valid. That's valid.
Lock the camera so it's stable so we can observe. My last hot point is the story needs more Avenger style storytelling, more pizzazz, dumbed down for casuals, easy to understand. I think this game needs that. So people understand the story, it's easy to digest. Even if you skip the story, you should know what's going on. I skip all the dialogue of every game and I know the characters' names. Honkai, I pretty much skipped every single thing.
I don't know if I agree 100% with that.
Just names, I know where they're from, all of that. The story needs to be dumbed down. It's okay.
Dumbed down story makes for bad simplistic writing. Some of the best games of all time have really complex storytelling. I don't really agree with that. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. Like, it might go over some people's heads if it's too complex, but there's a healthy balance. You know, it shouldn't be so simple that everybody understands it, but it shouldn't be so complex that no one gets it. There's like a middle ground there. You definitely shouldn't dumb it down so casuals understand it, because then you're just going to make it really simple and it's not going to be engaging at all or interesting. But I do kind of see your point.
But I'm just saying, going forward in 1.1.2, when the game drops, I think they need to make sure that we have arcs. We need like a main villain for this arc, and then we fight that villain and you just rinse and repeat. And we know this works because anime does this. We need these enemies to be linked to the story, in my opinion, but that's more on another topic. So to conclude this, do I think this game will actually flop? Fuck yes. I think if they don't make these changes, there is no reason for anyone to switch over besides the hardcore players using.
I think this is a good example of another person completely missing the fact that people aren't going to switch over and be mutually exclusive to Wuthering Waves or Genshin. The people that are playing Genshin are gonna play Wuthering Waves, and if Wuthering Waves is good, people are gonna play both. It's not gonna be this thing where like, oh, I'm only gonna play Wuthering Waves, or oh, I'm only gonna play Genshin, or oh, I'm only gonna play Honkai. It's not gonna be like that. It's because gacha games, especially once you get through story stuff and you're in the end game of a gacha, you're only doing your dailies and stuff, and it only takes like an hour, and that's like tops. You're being really slow. I mean, Honkai dailies take like 5 minutes, and my Genshin dailies take like 15 usually. So it's like, I have plenty of time to play another game.
This is content. They use it up and then they wait 3 months for the next patch, and then the game is dead for 3 months. Probably not 3 months, maybe 2 months or so, or 40 days, wherever the gacha cycle is. But I feel like that is not a successful game. I think as a gacha game, it'll be successful. But in terms of being a big three or being better than Genshin or a Genshin killer, I don't think so. I just really don't. And I think, to me, that's a flop.
Okay, people need to stop just like talking about the Genshin killer thing, because it's very, very clear. The only thing that can kill Genshin is Genshin. No other game is going to come along and just wipe Genshin off the face of the planet. That's not how that's going to work, because like I just said, people can play both games at the same time. It doesn't matter if Wuthering Waves comes out and is like the best game ever in the gacha space. People are still going to play Genshin because they're going to have time to do it. The only way people will stop playing Genshin, or the only way Genshin will be killed, is if Genshin itself starts doing ridiculous stuff like giving us 3 wishes for an anniversary.
Especially when it's trying to compare itself to, oh, I'm a Genshin killer. It's a Genshin killer.
It doesn't compare itself to a Genshin killer. Nowhere in any Wuthering Waves marketing has it proclaimed itself to be a Genshin killer.
I'm sorry, but you ain't got it like that. If they make changes and they fix some of these things, and when it drops, it's solid, the servers work, everything is going, I think it has a chance of actually killing Genshin. I really do.
You just contradicted yourself in like 30 seconds. You said, I think it's gonna flop, and then you said, I think it might kill Genshin if it does all these things.
And now these games are trying to copy off Genshin, but they haven't caught lightning in a bottle because they are not fucking trying to innovate. They're just saying, oh, let's copy this template. So,
I mean, they kind of are innovating. I mean, there hasn't been a gacha game like Wuwa, that has a combat system like Wuwa, that has a guaranteed weapon banner on a open world gacha system. There are things in Wuwa that are different, that are not normal in this space. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel or anything, but it's doing really good things.
Yeah. That's it. That's the video right there.
All right, conclusion on this video, brother. Oh my goodness. This seemed extremely half-baked, like really opinionated. Like a lot of the points didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And a lot of the stuff was like very over-exaggerated or just straight up not true. This was kind of just a hate training video, which is kind of what I expected from it, because that's what most of these Wuthering Waves will fail type videos are. Because realistically, nobody can tell you if Wuthering Waves will succeed or if it will fail. We don't know yet. The game isn't fully out. We don't know what to expect. I mean, we had the betas and we got to see, you know, a glimpse of what's there, but we can't take the betas as the full game experience because there's a lot of stuff missing from the betas. The whole point of a beta is to test the game in its current state, to get feedback from the player base and make changes. And if they do that, which they have been doing, then the game will do well. Saying the game is gonna flop before it even comes out is a little bit, what's the word? Maybe just a little bit too cynical. But nah, bro, that is a wild video. Like that's crazy.